Stop praying like a beggar. That's why you're broke. That's why your plans fall apart. That's why the world ignores your voice. You kneel, you whisper, you plead, you call it prayer, but it is nothing more than spiritual hesitation clothed in soft language. You speak to infinite intelligence like a pauper who hopes for scraps, and then curse your results when nothing arrives. You call it surrender. I call it disobedience. You were not made to beg. You were made to command. You were not placed on this earth to mutter wishes and wait. You were not born to collapse in crisis and then look toward the sky hoping a miracle rescues you from the results of your own indecision. That is not how wealth is born. That is not how faith works. That is not prayer. That is drift. There is a law more ancient than any ritual. A law more powerful than any institution, a law that does not care how long you've suffered, a law that does not respond to tears, apologies, or your past mistakes. It answers one thing only: spiritual authority. This law asks you every day, do you think in order? Do you speak in command? Do you pray as one who believes the universe must move when you do? Because if your answer is no, if you pray like a beggar, think like a doubter, and move like a man still seeking permission, you will attract nothing but confusion. You will build nothing but delays, and you will receive exactly what you expect: silence. But if you listen today, not casually, not with entertainment, but with the obedience of a man who is tired of circling the same mountain, then this speech will show you how to pray as a builder, speak as a king, and command your results with spiritual law. You will learn how to approach infinite intelligence not as a beggar, but as a partner. You will learn how to write your definite chief aim like a spiritual decree, how to speak it aloud until your subconscious obeys, how to visualize your prayer as already complete, and how to act in such alignment with law that the world can do nothing but respond. And if you do this, if you pray in precision, speak in faith, and act with no contradiction, you will attract wealth. Not just of money, but of clarity, of power, of identity, of unstoppable momentum. And when you receive it, you will not be surprised, because the man who commands his reality by law does not ask for miracles, he creates them. Now stop everything else. Turn off the world, still your mind, and listen, not for entertainment, but for instruction, because what comes next is not just a new way to pray. It is the end of weakness, the end of delay, and the beginning of your real life. Most men pray like they're poor. They think they're being humble, when in truth they are being weak. They kneel in desperation, not in discipline. They whisper soft wishes to the sky and call it faith, while inside they tremble with fear. That is not prayer. That is spiritual disorder. That is why so many receive nothing. They ask from weakness, not from dominion. Prayer, when it is real, does not begin in the mouth. It begins in the mind. It begins in the spirit, the inner seat of command. It is not begging a distant force to notice you. It is declaring to infinite intelligence that you already know who you are, that you expect obedience from law, not because you are arrogant, but because you are aligned. Most men have never been taught this. They were told to pray softly, to be meek, to bow forever. But the law does not respond to tone. It responds to certainty. If you speak to infinite intelligence like a stranger, it will treat you like one. If you speak like a man of purpose, law obeys. I must tell you plainly, you do not ask for riches. You do not plead for better days. You prepare to receive them by training your subconscious to expect them. And this preparation is the foundation of all true prayer. Until the subconscious accepts your words as real, no prayer is answered. Let me show you how to begin. Start every day with spiritual posture. Stand, shoulders back, eyes forward. Speak to your reflection. Speak to your Creator. Speak to the law. Say it without fear. I do not pray from fear. I pray from vision. I declare my dominion over circumstance. These are not just words. They are signals. When spoken daily, they train the subconscious to walk in certainty. They build the inner man who receives results without surprise because he expected them. Your prayer must become identity. You are not asking. You are announcing your alignment with divine law. Consider Henry Ford. He did not pray for permission. He did not sit in meditation hoping the automobile would build itself. He moved. He spoke. He declared what would be, and then began to act as though it were already done. His prayer was faith in action. His results were obedience of law. You may say, but I am not Ford. And I say that is exactly the problem. You are still identifying with limitation. You are still approaching infinite intelligence like a man hoping to be noticed, instead of one who has joined hands with the law and expects cooperation. You must burn the habit of pleading. Remove from your vocabulary every weak phrase. If it's meant to be, if I'm lucky, I just hope. These are the confessions of a mind still drifting. Instead, speak your desires aloud every morning as if they are already moving toward you. Speak them not as a question, but as law. This is the spiritual function of autosuggestion. It is not mere motivation. It is not wishful thinking. It is instruction given to your inner mind. Prayer, real prayer, is autosuggestion in spiritual form. It is thought organized by belief, spoken with clarity, and repeated until your spirit cannot contradict it. You must treat your subconscious as the altar, not the pew, not the ritual, not the repetition of words learned in childhood, but the living altar of law within you, where every spoken belief becomes a seed, and every repeated thought becomes law. What do you plant at your altar each morning? Doubt? Indecision? I hope things change? Then do not be surprised when the harvest is famine, but plant clarity, plant dominion, plant repetition of power, and your results cannot help but multiply. Your prayer must become structured. It must become muscular. No more wandering. No more vague statements. No more asking for signs. The sign is in your own speech. The miracle is in your daily instruction. The transformation is in your declaration that you are not here to wish. You are here to command. From this day forward, every time you rise from rest, you begin with dominion. You stand. You look yourself in the eyes. You speak as a man who is building his world by law. You say, I am not here to wait for better days. I create them. I speak them. I declare them. And they obey. Because infinite intelligence is not deaf. It is not distant. It is not ignoring you. It is simply waiting for you to stop contradicting your own prayer with weakness. It is waiting for clarity. It is waiting for faith. It is waiting for identity. Now write down this truth and post it above your mirror. My subconscious is the altar. My prayer is the offering. My faith is the fire. My results are the answer. Repeat that truth every day. Let it soak into your speech. Let it rise in your tone. Let it become your expectation. Because once it becomes expectation, it becomes law. And once it becomes law, wealth follows. If your prayer has no fire, it will produce no flame. If your desire is weak, your words are wasted breath. True prayer does not begin with habit or tradition. It begins with burning desire. Without it, all your petitions, your affirmations, your words to infinite intelligence are nothing but noise. Desire is the spark. It is the force that ignites spiritual law. You may repeat every phrase with perfect pronunciation, but if you do not feel it, if it does not move your blood, it will not move your results. The world responds to men who want something so deeply they cannot stop thinking, speaking, and moving toward it. This is why most prayers fail, not because infinite intelligence is absent, but because the man praying is lukewarm. His words say one thing, his desire says nothing, and the law does not obey contradiction, it obeys fire. Weak prayers are simply confirmations of weak desire. The man who prays for wealth but still speaks like a beggar, still plans like a drifter, still expects little, his prayer is hollow. It does not rise. It does not command. It simply circles around his own limitation and returns to him empty. Let me be clear. Prayer is not magic. It is spiritual